Welcome back once again, everyone. Glad you can stick around for this next announcement at the ARC Virtual Industry Forum. I'm pleased to introduce Eugene Spiropoulos from Yokogawa, who has a video that he's going to be presenting, and then he'll be speaking to us live after that, after which once again we'll do the Q&A session. So please feel free, and I encourage you to send in your questions via the Q&A mechanism. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Eugene.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ARC Forum 2021. I'm Eugene Spiropoulos, Technology Evangelist and Business Transformation Consultant for Yokogawa Electric Corporation, and today I'm very excited to announce the newly released Collaborative Information Server as part of Yokogawa's Oprex Control and Safety System family. The release of the Collaborative Information Server, or CI Server for short, brings digital transformation directly into the heart of industrial operations. This technology will integrate the handling of all data types and operational functions across plant facilities and systems to optimize plant activities across the entire enterprise. CI Server provides the collaborative but secure environment needed to remotely monitor, coordinate, and control operations from any location to address the needs of a post-COVID-19 world. As supply chains stretch across the globe and customer needs grow ever more diverse, many companies today are having to deal with increasing complexity in the supply of raw materials and in their operations. At the same time, they are experiencing critical impacts in labor, with retirement of their most experienced operators and uncertainty of post-pandemic consequences on operational behavior. Under these circumstances, companies must pursue efficiency in their operations and make decisions quickly in response to market changes if they are to remain profitable. And to streamline operations and ensure the safety of their workforce, there is a rapidly growing need for collaborative solutions that will enable personnel to work together without actually having to be on site. To meet these needs, Yokogawa has designed CI Server, a solution that aggregates and structures the data that has been acquired from plant facilities and systems so that personnel in any location can monitor, operate, and have access to all the information needed to make swift and effective decisions. Features of the CI Server include the streamlining of operations and assurance of safety through an operating environment that can be accessed anywhere. A plant operates most effectively when there is full collaboration between plant operators, experts in areas such as maintenance and quality management, and decision makers at headquarters, as well as with other plants. CI Server provides a remote operating environment that supports wide area communications and allows plant operations to be monitored and controlled from remote locations, such as integrated operation centers. CI Server can be used from any PC or mobile device to participate fully in plant operations with the necessary access permissions. CI Server also facilitates geographic integration of different facilities that often may be spread out over a wide area and situated in harsh environments. These could range from offshore fleet installations to renewable energy generation assets, linked together and standardized in operational function and maintenance optimization. This remote collaborative capability doesn't just optimize business costs and production sustainability. It also improves the quality of life for individuals and the community. Facilities and systems often differ in the data formats and communication protocols that they employ. And this complicates the aggregation of information and the management of data in a unified format. CI Server supports a wide range of communication protocols and can not only acquire processed data from control systems, but also aggregate data such as the operational status of facilities and equipment, raw material and finished product inventory, and energy consumption. Data on equipment maintenance, product quality, and other items are all gathered in real time, converted to a unified format, and can be linked and associated. Data from a wide variety of systems and devices made by different vendors can also be gathered and integrated, both on an individual and multiple plant basis. CI Server ensures that the right information is delivered in real time to the right persons for swift and effective decision making. CI Server enables a quick response to market changes and aids in the optimization of costs and enhancement of operational efficiency, not only at individual plants, but across an entire company's manufacturing operations. CI Server's integration of data not only manages plants, it also helps to improve production efficiency and quality by acting as a real-time conduit for data for various information-based objectives. CI Server enables the linkage of data in a unified format so it can be used across the board in information systems, quality improvement systems, data analysis applications, real-time control applications, and other information needs. I would like to close this announcement with a statement from Shigeyoshi Uehara-san, a Yokogawa Vice President and head of the IEA Systems Business Headquarters. The new collaborative information server solution provides the requisite data management infrastructure for customers to carry out their digital transformation. Yokogawa calls the future of the manufacturing industry IA to IA, industrial automation to industrial autonomy. And we will help industries with this migration from being automated to being autonomous. Yokogawa possesses solutions to improve operational efficiency, energy efficiency, quality, and other aspects through data utilization. And with CI Server, we will provide support to customers for improved production activities for sustainable business growth. Thank you very much for this time, and thanks to the ARC for providing the opportunity to discuss the CI Server. Have a great week, and please enjoy the rest of the ARC Forum 2021.
Thank you, Eugene. I'm going to pass you over to the live Eugene now, who's going to elaborate just a little bit.
Hi, everyone. I hope that that came across well and everybody kind of understood what it was that we are releasing to the industry at this point in time. I think CI Server is driven by a number of challenges that customers face more dramatically today, but have been facing over several years. And that's the capability to integrate operations and functions of different types, and also to be able to remotely and conveniently apply control, operations, and data management across multiple different areas. And I think that CI Server provides that value, but also another important one that's very important for today. We are seeing a shift in automation. We are seeing a shift in infrastructure as we have more of this IT-OT convergence that's taking more and more prevalence in systems of today in production facilities. And with this also comes, for process industries, more of a need to integrate different types of devices, different types of protocols, and sort of step toward the future, so to speak, and bridge this capability of traditional automation and the upcoming automation strategies. And CI Server helps to carry customers across that goal, across that function as well. So I think it's a really exciting time in automation, and it's also a very exciting release for Yokogawa. And I'd love to take any questions that anybody has at this point in time.
Thank you, Eugene. We do have a question. I just want to agree with you. This is a very exciting time to be in automation. I think we're all in agreement on that, and I mean that sincerely. We have two questions coming in. First from Keith Larson. Keith is asking, is CI Server a cloud, on-premise, hybrid, or any combination of the above?
The answer would be any combination of the above. So that capability of on-premise or on cloud, in cloud, or hybrid of both, and also not just vertically, but also horizontally as well, across different types of systems installations and different types of geographies. So it's designed to sort of link all of that. But that's a really great question, Keith. Thanks a lot for that. And I think just to expand a little bit before we go to the next question, I think that's a key part of the value is by having the combination, that vertical, spanning that vertical information function that provides more possibilities for utilizing information in the right place at the right time. So I think that is key to a lot of the value that CI Server brings to the table. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Eugene. We have a question from Mark Hosky. Mark is asking, has this been implemented? How long does integration take? Is it all software or is hardware also? And must some existing Yokogawa systems be installed, or can this work be done in a non-Yokogawa site? Good questions all.
All good questions. And I'll try to remember them in sequence, maybe
First
backwards.
has this been implemented? The first question.
So that's a pretty important question. CI Server has actually evolved from existing Yokogawa technology that has been that has been utilized broadly around the world for over 30 years. And so utilizing that technology and updating that technology and bringing it up to date with, expanding its capabilities towards more of the IIoT function, information management function, and the vertical cloud to field capabilities. That's where, and also with the integration with existing traditional DCS solutions, that's where the big step is made. But it has been implemented very broadly around the world, and so it is a very mature base technology. Is probably the best way to put it. The next question
is how long does integration take?
So well, that depends on what the function is going to be and what the scope is going to be. So integration with existing systems would depend on utilizing CI Server as a control function, and I guess this probably also helps to answer the next question as well, or utilizing it, in a higher level function, either for information management or as a way to integrate level 2 and level 3 applications, control side applications, information side applications, and cloud applications. And so depending on what the configuration or what the function is going to be, I think that's what the integration would require. However, for CI Server supports a very broad range of industry standard protocols. And this makes integration of multiple types of systems and multiple protocols fairly easy all in one place. And so a lot of these interfaces do come out of the box with CI Server. So it's kind of I guess it's a little bit of an open-ended question, but engineering-wise, it's very efficient to implement. But then regarding the use function and how the data is to be consumed or value is to be derived from the data, there's a lot of things that can be done to continue to improve what the customer is doing. I hope that was a good answer.
I think that the last part of the question too is, can this work in a non-Yokogawa site, or do Yokogawa systems need to be installed?
Yes. So the last part of that is, the answer is yes. Yokogawa systems do not need to be installed. It can work in a non-Yokogawa site. And so it can be a standalone in the cloud, for example, or integrated in multiple layers without any base Yokogawa kit sort of required. So yes, it is. It can be used in that capability.
That's cool. Good. Another question from Jim Montague. Jim is asking, how does CI Server gather and store data from field devices before going to the cloud?
So CI Server gathers data from field devices with a number of different protocols. A lot of the traditional protocols, absolutely, but also a lot of newer protocols like OPC UA for IIoT or open process type devices. And also it brings in, it can be a part of an IIoT brokered network like MQTT and so on. So these are all ways that it brings information in. Getting information up to the cloud depending on the available architecture, it can go to the cloud via a traditional route, utilizing standard capabilities, standard corporate network capabilities. But more and more, we are seeing a lot of these field to cloud capabilities. So essentially, the CI server can sort of sit on the edge and communicate information directly to the cloud or directly to other areas where the customer can utilize the information. So it's very flexible in that regard.
Good, good. I don't see any more questions from the journalists, but I'd like to ask you a question.
Sure, please.
How does CI server relate with, like, is it cognizant of things like the Open Process Automation Initiative or the Nomura Initiative?
Well, so it supports them very much. I mean, yes, it is an application that today you can put in a traditional architecture and get value from. But as more of this open process automation and the more of these sort of next generation automation infrastructure strategies come into play, CI Server is designed to support those very much. And a little bit more than that, because it also helps to bridge a customer gap in between. So sitting on one side on traditional automation architecture, but expanding out with next generation automation infrastructure kind of gives the customer this capability to manage their transition, so to speak, or get the best of both worlds until, and that way manage how and when they make investments. So that is an immediate value it brings to the table for customers. Mm. Does that help answer? Was that a good answer?
It answers my question. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna ask you another question as well, Eugene. There are a lot of DCSs out there. The installed base is tremendous. So I mean, if you have a traditional DCS, how do users, how do they adapt to this shift in automation? I mean, this is kind of a dramatic shift for a lot of the users out there.
It is, and this I think is a little bit of a safety cushion, so to speak, with regard to risk, because as we hear more about open process automation and Nomura and industrial Internet of Things and leveraging much more data today and in the near future than we ever have in the past. A lot of customers who are in, which is essentially almost every customer, almost every production facility is firmly entrenched in traditional paradigms of automation. And the CI server helps to sort of break the paradigm a little bit, because it can add immediate value in the traditional sense by providing remote capabilities to traditional automation or integrating data for traditional automation. But also it now allows the customer who is in that position of utilizing a CI server with traditional automation to also now begin to get the value from non-traditional or next generation automation, and utilize that from both a control perspective in real time and an information management perspective. So it's that gateway that allows customers to begin to adopt. And it gives customers a different path, really, for how to continue their automation journey or their automation lifecycle.
Okay. We do have another question from Keith Larson. Eugene kind of touched on this a little bit. How is the CI server different than a traditional historian application?
Absolutely. So traditional historian application is very, very, very information sort of focused with regard to data acquisition and data sharing. CI server is control. I mean, it's not only control, but it starts out, it's flexible in how it's utilized. So a historian would typically not be used for high-speed control. You would use your DCS applications or your other control applications for that, like the CI server. So in that sense, it's very different from a historian. Also, on the level 3 side, moving up into the information layer, CI server is actually very complementary with historians, as opposed to sort of taking up their space. Because one challenge of historians, it's getting that data in, and CI server is really, really good at that. So bringing in asset information alongside process data information, control information, the historian would typically become the recipient of all of that information, but now in a form that is easier for the historian to use and get value from. So I think they play very well together, and they are adjacent in functions, certainly, but within the same space, CI server will more add value than sort of compete. Okay. I hope that addressed the question.
Yeah, I suspect it did. Keith, there's a follow-up question on that also that related to, is it moving on from the historian? Keith's asking, so it could be used for deterministic control apps as well?
The answer is yes. So because with that capability of integration of information, it kind of brings, if you're utilizing a higher, let's call it a higher intelligence control function, CI server kind of brings that closer to field execution. So so if in a traditional DCS world, pushing higher intelligence down for real-time control can sort of have its complications or its bottlenecks. In the sense of the CI server and implementing that sort of higher end control function in the control execution itself, it sort of brings that intelligence a little bit closer to the control function. So I think it does support that. I hope I understood the question right.
Okay. How about for remote operations? We've been hearing a lot about that as well.
So one very powerful capability of the CI server is synchronizing multiple areas together that are geographically distributed. It supports wide area communications, and essentially you could have, in the case of, let's say, a mix of renewable energy and traditional energy or distribution assets or offshore assets, you would be able to integrate the control and information functions across all of these. So this naturally lends itself to integrated operation centers, but it also lends itself to distributed control, depending on what the strategy is for the customer and what the industry is as well. Of course, this would apply a lot more to some industries than to others. But that is a very powerful capability to be able to support a flexible range of networks and be able to integrate at high speed these various control functions together. And I think more and more in a lot of our industries, we're seeing a greater demand for that, particularly in this sort of new era with post-pandemic or almost post-pandemic. We are seeing that's if customers' eyes or end users' eyes have been opened because of what they've seen as possible over the last year or year plus, yeah, the path is nevertheless not fully clear. So stepping forward into what is possible, but implementing, but being able to implement what gives you value today. And I think CI server, in the case of remote operations, helps very much with that.
Cool, good. Well, thank you very much, Eugene. We've pretty much run out of time. Oh, actually, we have run out of time. So I'm going to want to thank you for your presentation, and I want to thank the journalists as well. And I just want to remind everyone that we'll be convening again in about 20 minutes for our last press announcement of the day. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, everyone at Yokogawa.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you, ARC. Thanks all the journalists who asked questions and everyone who attended. Greatly appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. Take care, everybody.